On November 18, 2023 at approximately 10 p.m., Spokane Valley Deputy Letterly attempted to stop a U-Haul truck on East Sprague at Pines. The driver of the truck, later identified as 18-year-old Devontaye Lyghts, had been observed driving recklessly, crossing 2 lanes of travel without signaling or yielding, and almost striking another vehicle. Air-2, already in the air on a regularly scheduled flight, picks up the action as it's southbound on University Road. Here, as the suspect vehicle approaches 8th, it turns westbound. As Air-2 repositions, they lose the vehicle for a short time but pick it up as it crosses I-90 northbound on Oregon. As you can see, the suspect continues to drive in a reckless manner, approaching Montgomery. As they get closer to the intersection, the light turns green, but the suspect moves to the outside, then takes an aggressive turn to the west on Montgomery, accelerates rapidly, passing another motorist. He continues going west on Montgomery till he approaches Sargent, where he turns south. You can see that there's no law enforcement vehicles behind him as he turns west on Mansfield, which comes to a dead end. It's apparent that the suspect does not know the location that he's in. He pulls into the dead end, decides that he wants to try to flee on foot, and exits the vehicle. We switched over to the infrared camera from Air-2 so you can see the suspect jump out of the vehicle running next to a house. As he does, he comes around to the front and starts hiding behind the cars in the driveway as Air-2 circles overhead. It appears he's trying to hide from Air-2, but the infrared camera obviously picks up his heat signature. The suspect starts to move around to the front of the vehicle as 2 deputies approach. He continues to try to hide, but 2 deputies now approach in patrol cars. He makes the choice at this point to turn around and flee on foot. Notice on the FLIR camera you can actually see his footsteps as he turns around and runs across the cold ground. He continues to flee around the residence and circles back toward the U-Haul truck with deputies in foot chase. They're providing commands for him to stop. He obviously ignores those and makes the choice to continue fleeing in the vehicle. At this point, no additional deputies have arrived on scene to assist. Now heading east on Mansfield, he turns north on Sargent, back up to Montgomery, where he'll continue eastbound. As he approaches Oregon, we'll switch back the camera to regular view. You can see his continued reckless driving. Now heading northbound on Oregon, approaching Trent with a marked patrol car with lights and sirens activated. The suspect runs the red light, almost causing a crash, and continues now westbound on Trent. Still at an extremely high rate of speed, you'll notice the suspect's now approaching Park at Trent. The light is red, but he continues through, missing one vehicle, turning in front of another, as he heads southbound on Park. Now approaching Mission Avenue, the red lights for the stop sign are clearly visible, but he just blows through that, passing a vehicle. With another vehicle going in the opposite direction, he hesitates. Then he turns into oncoming lanes and passes a second vehicle as he heads across to I-90. Now approaching Broadway, he makes it through the intersection, continuing southbound toward Sprague Avenue on Park Road. As he gets to Sprague Avenue, he takes a right-hand turn and heads westbound on Sprague. He rapidly accelerates to well above the speed limit on Sprague. Notice that there are no patrol cars behind this suspect as he continues to show his reckless behavior and no regard for anyone else out in the public. As he travels under I-90, he's now approaching Fancher Road. Notice on the right-hand side of your screen, a deputy deploys spike strips as we switch over to the FLIR camera. As the suspect's tires slowly deflate, he does start to slow down. Notice the suspect vehicle almost appears to be glowing compared to the other vehicles on the road. That glow is the infrared camera picking up the extreme heat that is built up from the suspect driving at such high speeds in such a reckless manner. You can also notice sparks are starting to come out from behind the vehicle as the tires begin to break apart and shred, and as the wheels start to drag upon the pavement. At Havana, suspect turns south. Again, you see sparks spraying from behind the vehicle. Probably understanding it's only a matter of time before his vehicle fails, he does pull off into a parking lot just south of Pacific. He appears to stop like he's looking for a place to go, thinking about running on foot. However, he decides to continue into the parking lot. With Air-2 crews continuing to give updated information to the deputies on the ground, the suspect stops behind this building. He jumps out of the truck and flees to the south, having to jump over a fence. As he's crossing Pacific, you'll notice a deputy arrive in a patrol car. He runs to the backside of a residence and continues to try to hide, but Air-2's camera can clearly see him. As the camera operator zooms the shot in, you'll notice that the suspect's laying on the ground. With deputies fast approaching on the ground, he knows his time's running out. He jumps up and tries to flee again. Unfortunately, ends up tripping over something, goes head first into a fence, then scales the fence, falling to the ground. With the deputy right behind him and quickly scaling the fence, the suspect continues to try to outrun the deputy, but as you can see, multiple deputies are now approaching. Coming to the realization that he is not going to escape, he starts to slow down and give up. The deputy turns around and takes him to the ground as additional deputies help secure him in handcuffs. Thankfully, nobody was injured during this incident. The suspect was transported and booked in the Spokane County Jail for eluding a police vehicle, obstructing law enforcement, and hit-and-run property damage.